This is Stellenus, the dwarf who left his home of Black Rock Mountain to explore the old, dark, and forgotten places of the world. From Elwyn Forest to Westfall and beyond, he'll gather the materials and learn every single plan the old world has to offer him, so that he can finally become the greatest blacksmith in all of Azeroth. Welcome back, everybody. Last time we were here, we were doing Naxxramas, and this time we're starting off here in the Burning Steppes. We're going to be finishing off some of our questing plans that we need to gather. There's one here that requires us to collect a bunch of axe heads. I've quickly started in the middle of this, and I've noticed that I'm starting to not be able to fight so many enemies at the same time anymore. I believe it's my lack of new and level appropriate gear is starting to actually bite me in the ass. But yeah, I quickly get taken down here. A little bit of a humbling experience, but we quickly come back, we finish off the last orc, get our last axe head, and we turn it in here for one of our missing blacksmithing plans. Now, another blacksmithing plans is all the way out in Winterspring from a goblin. I did forget to go record me grabbing the quest, but I want everyone to understand that in order to grab the quest from this goblin, because you'll see him once I turn it in, you do have to know Legion blacksmithing. So I did have to go to Dalaran and quickly learn it, but that's the only requirement. You have to come back in here, gather all these objects, turn them into a ruby at that smith, bring it back to him, and there's our blacksmithing plan. It's pretty easy. We've been running it all the time anyway. Then we have this troll here. I do believe he also requires Legion blacksmithing for some reason. But mobs around this area will drop a spear that starts a quest. You bring it to him, and he'll send you on the next parts of the quest, which is to gather parts from all the creatures that are around, these stone golems around here, and even have to gather some stuff from the monkeys that are in the area. Once you gather all of those objects and you bring them back, you're going to craft the weapon for him, and then he's going to give you the plans to make it yourself. But turn that in, and that is yet another blacksmithing plan we can cut right out of our list. And I think it looks pretty cool. Next, we're heading back to Silithus to turn in all of the encrypted Twilight plans into this man, who will eventually mail us boxes, and we'll be able to get plans out of there. We're going to quickly cut back over to Girardi, because she's also in Silithus, and this is just sort of a montage of me getting her herbalism up to snuff. I did, however, when I was in Felwood, found that there are some really good spots to farm Grom's Blood and to farm Purple Lotus. I've actually made the track here. I did this long circle, and then I would do a small little loop in each of those circles. Those are the two areas that has the most amount of Purple Lotuses. Now, if you don't know, Purple Lotus are actually a pretty rare and pretty expensive herb. So if any of you are out there are farming for expensive herbs to sell, that is a good one. I think on my realm, Purple Lotuses are like 30 to 50 gold a piece, which is pretty good because I used what I needed to level myself up. Then I didn't need them anymore. I was able to get a nice little bit of money out of it. But I'm just quickly going around Felwood, gathering stuff, trying to level her up a little bit more, get her, not her blacksmithing, sorry, her herbalism up a little bit higher, until eventually I go back to Orgrimmar, I craft as many potions as I need, and then we have to move on to the next area that I need. We're going to head all the way to the Eastern Kingdoms, to the Swamp of Sorrows, because we need sorrow moss. It's a little bit easier to gather. It is literally everywhere around the Swamp of Sorrows. Obviously, namesake. We head back to Orgrimmar again, learning all the new potions, crafting every potion we can. We are getting that skill up. Quickly stopping at Daenerys to grab all of the plans in order to start transmuting so that we can make Stellenus his Arcanite bars. And speaking of Stellenus, we cut back to what he's been doing this entire time, which is just grinding thorium and arcane crystals for the transmutation. Now, I wanted not to speed through this, because I wanted you guys to see how easy it is, obviously, for me to kill this air elemental. I'm around level, I think it's 59 or 60. It's hard for me to see right this second. But remember that, because something does happen a little bit later. But we run around, and I do this for about one straight hour. and you'll see how many I get at the end. But here, I fight another air elemental, and now I'm level 61. And I think that whole, not having any gear that's up to snuff that I said at the beginning of the video is really showing. Because now I can't even face one air elemental that is my same level. So we are starting to struggle. And I might actually have to go back into Chromie time, do some quests just to get some gear that's a little bit stronger than what I'm wearing. So we're not struggling so hard. But yeah, after what felt like a 20-minute boss fight, let's head back to Storm. After an hour of grinding in Silithus, you can finally see that I was able to get 42 arcane crystals, which is not too bad. We needed 50 of them. And the rest of the miscellaneous minerals we got are right there. We head back over here, smell all that thorium, head to Blackrock to smell all of the dark iron ore, which I got quite a few. It's pretty easy. You just do molten core over, don't kill any bosses, and come out and reset. I run all my other characters through to get me sulfuron ingots, and then my priest decided to have an out-of-body experience. It does take about 2 weeks of runs for me to get enough sulfuron ingots, but before I show that, we're going to cut back to Stellenus, opening some of those boxes I mentioned. Alright everybody, we have some of the Dakota True Believer clippings to be opening. I've turned in quite a few of those encrypted Twilight documents. Let's see if we can get those last plans. Nothing. Nothing. Oh. Taylor. Oh. Bro, we got the Dark Rune Helm. That's one of them. That's good. That's a good one. What's the other thing? We got more of those, huh? Alright, open this one. Hey, that's better than we did last time. Oh. If only I was a tailor. Darkroom breastplate. Oh. Darkroom breastplate. Now, I did mess up, and I'll explain afterwards. However, I decided to really test my editing skills, and I wanted to give me crafting Sulfuron the Hand of Ragnaros the attention it deserves, because the actual act of making it legendary doesn't feel too epic. So hopefully you guys like what I was able to do. It is a little silly, but I think without further ado, it's time that we watch Stellenus finally wield that hammer.
At long last, it's time for me to infuse the heart of Ragnaros into the Sulfuron hammer. My grandfather, I wish he had been here to see me do it. But I will make you proud. I will smith the most legendary weapon the Dark Iron Dwarfs have ever seen. Bear witness to me, Granda. Greetings, Miss Moira. I'm here to use the Black Forge to make Sulfuron the Hand of Ragnaros. And now I have to be careful. One mistake could cost me everything. The metal feels like it's fighting back against me. Like it does not want to be wielded. It does not wish to be forged. Maybe I'm not worthy.
Pathetic fool. You would give up so easily. The mortal who braved the heart of Blackrock deep into the molten core and retrieved my Sulfuron eye from the molten pool. Perhaps it had been a mistake. Maybe you were never meant to wield a weapon of such unimaginable power, and yet I have seen your craftsmanship. You have mastered all this world has to offer you. You have created armor and weapons beyond the capabilities of most mortals. So prove it to me, dwarf. Prove you are worthy to wield my hammer.
I will wield the legendary hammer of Ragnaros. Solfjaron, the hammer of Ragnaros, belongs to me, and I shall wield it, and all of its power that belongs to the Dark Iron Dwarfs.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The actual way I got that legendary hammer was a lot less cool than whatever I was able to do there. I had crafted the Sulfuron hammer, which of course, as you all know, takes an extremely long time to do in all these different parts. But fun fact, if you just right click the Eye of Ragnaros, it just makes it a legendary weapon. Whoops.
Well, I do believe I'm gonna have to bite the bullet. I'm going to need to put out a letter for a leather worker. Not having leather for my blacksmithing has been a real challenge. Looking for a skilled leather worker to help me in my journey to study every aspect of blacksmithing. My journey will soon take me to Outland. Any interested people can feel free to send me a return letter. Now to wait for a response. Gods to be back here again.
It's an Adam frame.
Oh, I do believe that I gave the gardener the week off. The weeds are starting to get a little out of control. I don't know why I even bother coming back to this wretched house. This dark and dreary loneliness does nothing for me. I can't even enjoy my own fountain. What's even the point? If only my friend Talion was here. She always kept me company when I was here by myself. Keeping up on this old house is starting to become more of a chore than a privilege. I only wish I could just sell the damn thing and get rid of it. It doesn't matter. What's this? A letter? I need somebody to help me with my blacksmithing. Now this is what I needed. A chance to actually use my skills to help someone. It is about time that I show the world the skills that I've learned, and that my family has passed on for generations. Time to go back to work.
Hi everyone. I think now would be a good time for us to just kind of have a little bit of talk about where the series is going and what we have left to get done. So let's get rid of that music. We don't need it. So I want to talk about my feelings about the series. So the series, I feel like, has been going very fast. And I know that it has been going quite quick. Classic has taken a lot less time than I thought it would. And I've cut out a lot of stuff because I believed it was boring. This is my first real attempt at like a series, let alone a World of Warcraft series. So the fact that anybody has watched this at all is amazing. But when it comes to Outland, which is going to be the next place that we go, we're going to be changing a little bit of the rules. We're going to be changing a little bit of the structure of how these episodes are going to go. Because I think that's what we need, is a little bit more structure. Now, I think it'll be really smart for us to talk about rules for Outland are going to be quite different than the rules for Classic. Burning Crusade is going to be a little different than Classic. So, Classic, I was a little bit more lenient on the rules because, one, most World of Warcraft challenge videos are in Classic right now. Pathalerix is still in Classic World of Warcraft. I think Nabble only just now is getting to Outland. And when it comes to the blacksmithing plans for Classic, it's mostly just random world drops. There's a couple obviously really good ones, like the Naxxramas ones that we are currently farming. That is just a sort of a time thing. So, with what we have left for episode 5, will probably be the last episode in Classic World of Warcraft. And then it will be in Outland. The rules for Outland is I'm not going to be able to buy from the auction house. I can sell to the auction house, and obviously any money I make is going to have to be from my blacksmithing professions or from selling things. I'm going to do quests to level up as well, because I've actually never quested in Outland, except for the little bit that Girardi's actually there, getting her herbalism up before Stellennis gets there. And I want to sort of change the format, because at the moment I am just sort of winging it. I'm doing my own thing. I'm cutting the videos together and then going, okay, I think that makes an episode. But I do feel like I'm not really explaining. I don't have really goals. Like per episode, I don't have a goal. I don't say like, hey, the goal of this episode is we want to do this and we want to do this, we want to do this. I think maybe what I should do is say the goal for this session is going to be, I want to collect these like 5 plans. And if we can do that, you know, that would be the episode. Something that is important to know though is, whereas with Classic, I sort of was like the ultra rare, mega rare plans are not something I'm going after. For Outland, I am going to do my best to try and actually get those. And then another thing I would like to start doing is maybe live streaming some of the grinding, some of the gathering and mining and all that stuff. So I was thinking that maybe the days that I do that would be Tuesdays right after reset. So maybe around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Because I get off work around 1:30, maybe a little later depending. So I'd say about 3:30 I would start, and I could probably go for about 3.5 hours, because I have to work early in the mornings. But then I also was thinking about maybe doing Thursday as well. So it would be Tuesdays and Thursdays, at least to start with. So I think that's something I would like to start doing. I definitely will stream probably when I get to Outland, just because, you know, it would be cool to explore it, see what we can do. I know Fell Steel is going to be the majority of what we're going to be mining at first. I think the rule changes are going to help a lot, because currently it doesn't feel like a challenge. It feels more like, hey, watch me get my professions up. And while we're in Outland, I don't want to be able to leave Outland. So the only thing Stellennis will be allowed to do outside of Outland will be to run through Naxxramas every week to get our Scourge Stones, which I will do on all of my alts, even though I will be 100% real with everybody here. It is getting very old to run through Naxxramas over and over again. But I'm thinking what could be fun is I'm going to do that over and over again until we have 50 of those slime-covered scrolls, and we're going to open all of them live on stream. But when we get to Outland, I'll do that in the background. Like I said, I want to start having a sort of goal every episode. I'll describe what I'm going after. I'll say where I'm going. I'm going to try really hard. This is the first time I've tried editing. Editing has been a real, I don't want to say struggle. It's definitely not as hard as I'm sure it used to be, but I have never done it. So I'm going from no editing experience at all to trying to edit hours of footage down to watchable 20-minute parts is what I'm trying to aim for. It's 20 to 30. And I'm definitely going to make sure I record everything. I don't want to miss any details. There were too many times watching my old videos where it would be like, hey, I didn't record this part, but here's what happened. I didn't record this part, but here's what happened. And I'll be honest, to me, I feel like that's unacceptable. I need to actually record this stuff, make sure it's in so people can see it. Outland will be soon. And episode 5 is going to be us cleaning up and getting all the last of it. Because now, obviously, we have our new weapon. We have Sulfuros, the Hand of Ragnaros. That was sort of the last real thing I wanted to do before I left for Outland. I think I got off track before with the rules where I can't buy off the auction house anymore. Also, I was thinking about starting a second challenge that I would like to do, but I would do it sort of every so often. I don't want to put me on like a weekly schedule for it. But I think at the end of episode 5, I will take a stop here, and we're going to look at all the blacksmithing plans that we have left to learn in Classic. Which Classic is small. If anybody has ever done this, you know that like this page goes down for a long time. This is relatively short. And I wanted to start Outland with no money. Stellenus, from selling some of the blacksmithing plans that he had extras of, and from selling weapons he's made, was sitting at around 50,000 gold. So, I have spent almost all of it on some of the random blacksmithing plans that are extremely rare world drops. Just to sort of make this list even smaller. Because sadly, this section down here is not going to get smaller faster. But this stuff all can. I think I also want to add a caveat of the only thing that Stellenus would be running through is Naxxramas. That is a lie. He will also be running through Blackrock Depths. I think that's not Blackrock Depths. Blackrock Spire. To try and get the Arcanite Reaper and the Arcanite Champion. Those are the last two, I think, from dungeons that are really, like, I really want. So we are going to, right now, learn all these plans. So we've got the Mithril Spurs. Which I don't even know what these do. Spurs to your boots that increase your mounted movement speed by 4%. Must be level 49 or lower to gain this benefit. That's interesting. Alright, then we're going to do the Iron Shield Spike. I don't think I've ever used a shield spike before. What's it do? It attaches the iron spike to the shield that deals damage every time you block with it. Cannot be applied to items higher than level 80. Okay. White Soul Helm. I do believe this was one of the more expensive ones because it's rare. It's definitely an interesting helmet. It says here it minimum buyout's 30k, but it sells for about 2.5k. It's not bad. Not bad at all. The Green Iron Shoulders. Green Iron Shoulders. Those. Oh, hey. Those are the shoulders, oh no, what's his name? In the old Oxhorn videos. The green, the Green Torn used to wear that. I can't remember. I can only remember that he was members of Reluctance. I can never remember his actual name. Wild Thorn Mail. Is that a chess piece? Of course, that is a chess piece, which means we're not going to see it, except you can kind of see it. Looks like it has some green down there. So that is learned. Golden Scale Coltrus? Colrus. Cool. I don't even see anything. The Runed Copper Breastplate. Ugh. The Copper Chain Vest. Yep. Silvered Bronze Leggings. Kind of hard to see around my weapons. Polished Steel Boots. Oh, good lord. They are polished. Shadow Crescent axe. Pretty basic axe, but it's pretty cool looking. Jade serpent blade. That's a scimitar-ish. Golden iron destroyer. Kind of an okay hammer. Kind of cool. Classic paladin weapon, I think. And then the iridescent hammer being the last plan I could afford. Because some of the plans, man, get up. Oh, okay, so it's like a baby version of the big one. So, now if we were to take a look at all of our blacksmithing plans that we are missing, if we ignore this, for weapons, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weapons we're missing. And then for legs, for most armor, it's 2 or less. There's some gauntlets we're missing, because these weren't anywhere. So we are pretty close to just being done in general. This is so hard to find. Like, the highest drop chances in Blackwing Lair from Nefarian himself. So I just wanted everybody to kind of see like how far it's come along. Like, the learned and unlearned, there is so many things that we have access to. I think we have more things we have access to than not. And there is a lot of good stuff. For especially like ancient plans. It's like we've got some pretty good weapons. The Blade of Unholy Might is still sick. That is such a cool thing. The Face of Doom, I forgot I had pulled this until I was editing it last time. That is such a cool classic Death Knight shield, and Death Knights don't use shields. So I guess that's really good for an Ice Warrior or a Paladin cosplaying a Death Knight. So it is... I have been thoroughly enjoying going through and making these videos, editing them, putting them up. And if anybody has gotten any enjoyment out of these videos, it makes me happy. I promise I am going to be working a lot harder on the Outland one. I want to give you guys a better experience. I think this first classic section was a good start, but I definitely think I can improve, and I'm going to attempt to improve. So, until next time, the next time you see Stellenus, it'll be the last time he's on Azeroth, and he'll be heading to a completely different plane of existence, to Outland. See you guys later. Thank you all for watching my newest episode. If you're enjoying my new WoW content, feel free to subscribe. Our long journey to Outland is looking shorter every day, so until the next episode, everyone, keep your feet on the ground.